Hello and welcome. My name's James Harrington and this is the La Liga preview. Today we're previewing Matchday 22. If you enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell and the thumbs up. Well, let's crack on with the episode. Okay, well let's look at the league table after Matchday 21. The big question now is the title race over? After their 4-2 win over Cadiz and Real Madrid's defeat to Levante, Atletico have a 10-point gap over Barca in second and Real Madrid in third. It would have to be an implosion by Los Colchoneros to not end up La Liga champions. In fourth, Sevilla continue their winning ways to shore up that final Champions League spot and now 4 points and a game in hand on Villarreal, who drew to 6th place Real Sociedad. In the bottom half of the table, a big match in the relegation fight, Huesca got the win over Real Valladolid, more on that in a bit. Still they remain bottom of the table, but they've given themselves a fighting chance. Okay, well let's quickly touch upon what happened on Matchday 21 in those games that I previewed. I got my prediction right, didn't I? Villarreal 1, Real Sociedad 1. Dani Parejo again, arguably what could be the goal of the season. Then there was Barcelona hosting Athletic Club. Messi put in a king of the match performance. His free kick was simply sublime. It was an all-round great performance by Barcelona and they really are playing well in the league at the moment. Okay, well let's talk about Matchday 22. Now it might seem like I'm talking about Matchday 20 again because I'm going to be talking about Real Madrid and relegation. The reason being is because Real Madrid are back under the spotlight. It's not me being unoriginal. Look, Real Madrid play Huesca away on Saturday. And Huesca just coming off the back of a massive victory against Real Valladolid, 3-1. With Rafa Mir getting a hat-trick and Maffeo getting 2 assists. Whilst it was a great performance by Huesca, I must say the defence at Real Valladolid was woeful. In particular, Joaquin. Before the game there was a 7-point gap between the two sides, but this victory gives Huesca a slim hope of survival and their upcoming fixtures against those teams that are in and around them. There seems to be a real Pacheta effect. Let's compare Pacheta to Alvaro Fernandez, who joined Alaves at the same time. Pacheta has got Huesca a loss to Getafe, not great, a draw against Villarreal, a very good result, and now a massive 3-1 win against Valladolid. Compare that to Alaves, 2 losses, 1 draw. It seems like Pacheta is really impacting on the dressing room. And to be honest, I'm quite fond of Pacheta. I was watching his press conference afterwards, and so much positivity, so much belief. And he said like the team have been defensively good this season, which I agree with. They just weren't getting the luck, nor were they just putting the goals away in the final third. Now these words might come back to haunt me, but I think there's a slim chance that Huesca could survive under Pacheta. Let's talk about Huesca's opponents, Real Madrid, and what a fortnight they've had, and not in a good way. Knocked out the Copa del Rey, losing the Supercopa, and slipping to now what is a 10-point gap on first place Atletico Madrid. It's not looking good for Zinedine Zidane, is it? They've got some tough games coming up, and this game marks the beginning of 4, hopefully winnable fixtures, but who knows with Real Madrid. They've got Huesca, Getafe, Valencia and Valladolid. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about Matchday 21. Well, they lost to Levante 2-1. And it's in large part because they played most of the game with 10 men. Militao getting a red card, and I believe it was about the 8th minute. Now, you've got to feel sorry for Militao, haven't you? He hasn't really made much of an impression at the Bernabeu since signing, and he probably hoped this was a big moment for him. But what does he do? Gets a red card and puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the side for the rest of the match. Courtois was the best performer for Real Madrid, I felt. Good double save, good penalty save, but that wasn't enough for Real Madrid. As the game went on, their legs started to tire and Levante dominated the second half. Now, in this match there were some big absentees. No Ramos, no Vasquez, no Carvajal, and to be honest I'm going to say no Hazard. Now I know that's a bit harsh because he obviously was playing, but I had high hopes. I'd hoped that he could build upon his king of the match performance against Alaves, but that wasn't to be the case. Now after the post-match I was listening to David Bertoni, who's Zinedine Zidane's deputy, and he was optimistic and I just don't understand why. he was saying, look, you can take some positives, and I guess you can. 10 versus 11, we held our own for long parts of the game. And he said, the title's not over. There's still a chance of us winning it. I totally disagree. I can't see Atletico Madrid slipping up that much. Comment below if you think the title race is over, because I think it is. Because Atletico Madrid, that is, after 19 games are on 50 points. That is more than when they won the title in 2013-14. A big thing for Real Madrid is all about winning titles. That's what the club is all about. Now, if I was them, I would turn my attention to the Champions League. They've got Atalanta in the next round, and that would be my focus if I was Zinedine Zidane. I anticipate Zinedine Zidane being back in the dugout. He seems to have recovered from his COVID scare, and he's probably going to ring the changes. Probably not in the attack, because he can rely upon most of them, and Asensio's playing well at the moment, but definitely defensively. They didn't really have anyone to call upon in the game against Levante, and I'm sure Vasquez and Carvajal, if they're back in contention, will feature against Huesca. Now, what is my prediction? That's an interesting one, because Huesca don't seem to be fazed by bigger opponents, and as well, Real Madrid haven't played well against lesser teams, dropping points against the like of Elche, Osasuna. That being said, early in the season, Real Madrid got a 4-1 victory, I believe, and I think it is going to be a Real Madrid victory. They need it, frankly. I'm going to go with 2-0 Real Madrid. Comment below your predictions. I'll be interested to see them. So the next game I want to talk about is Osasuna versus Eibar, and this is a big one in this relegation dogfight, this Survivor Series. Now, Osasuna have just come off the back of what was all defeats are disappointing, but I think in this one in particular against Betis, where they lost 1-0, because actually Osasuna played all right. It was a quite unfair defeat, and they could have got something out of the game. Before this, they had a good run of results, a lot of draws, but a massive victory against Granada, where they won 3-1 with a Budimir brace. Now, looking at Osasuna in this game, I was impressed in many respects. They played good counter-attacking football at times, and Jonathan Cagliari really bulldozed those two centre-halves of Betis. What would be welcome for Osasuna fans was Adrian back on the bench, because they do need more goals. There's no question about that. They need to score more. They win any chance of surviving. And I listened to Alizate's press conference after the match, and he said, firstly, the result could be seen as unfair. As I said, you could agree with him. They could have got more out of it. But he said that this game coming against Eibar is massive. It's huge for Osasuna's season, and they really need to be more clinical in front of goal. And I couldn't agree more with him. Osasuna's opponents, Eibar, the smallest club in La Liga, are just coming off the back of a 2-0 defeat to Sevilla. Look, there's no shame in losing 2-0 to Sevilla. They're in very good form at the moment, fighting for that Champions League spot. But throughout the game, they had quite good tempo and they were resilient. And that's kind of Eibar's style of play under Mendilibar. Now for Eibar, for Mendilibar, I'd be a bit concerned that they haven't won a game since November. And that was against Real Betis. Now they play Osasuna. Both sides don't particularly score many goals. Eibar have got 17 goals this season. Osasuna have got 18. But the thing that Eibar has over Osasuna is their defence is slightly better, only conceding 23 goals, whereas Osasuna have conceded 30. I'm a big fan of their goalkeeper Marko Dimitrovic. Eibar have actually had two of some of my most favourite moments of the season so far. Dimitrovic scoring a penalty against Jan Oblak, which was a surprise to say the least. And also Kike Garcia, the Eibar captain, who when he played against Real Madrid scored a wonderful goal, but then screamed at the stands against his own teammate to prove a point. It was a truly strange moment to say the least. Eibar can probably take comfort from the fact they're actually quite good on the road. 13 out of their 20 points this season have been away from home. 3 of their wins have been away from home. But that being said, what is my prediction for Osasuna versus Eibar? Now I think it's going to be a close one, because as I say, both teams have a lot to gain and a lot to lose in this fixture. But I think it's going to be a 0-0. The reason why I say that, I think it's going to be the same as the result was earlier in the season. It's going to be a very tight affair, but a very interesting one, I'm sure of that. Right, so the final game that I'll be previewing this episode is Alaves versus Real Valladolid. Now I've said a lot about them already in this episode, so I'll keep it brief. Alaves are just coming off the back of a 0-0 draw against Getafe, and there was nothing really to talk about in that game. No real scoring opportunities. But let's quickly talk about Abelardo Fernandez. And I talked earlier about the Pacheta effect and how he got Huesca a win, whereas for Abelardo it's been 2 losses and a draw. He switched up to a 4-4-2 system, and I think, as I said in the previous video, if they can get Joselu and Lucas Perez playing together again, there is a chance. Perez was out injured in the last match, so hopefully he's fighting fit to feature in this match. As well, the pressure is on because their next game against Barcelona, and who would want to play Barcelona at the moment, and then after that Osasuna, to say another relegation rival. It's a big match for Alaves, especially at home. So Valladolid, a team that I've already touched upon already, coming off the back of their 3-1 defeat to Huesca. Now the owner, Ronaldo, that is Brazilian Ronaldo, the legend of Real Madrid and Barcelona, I'd have thought would have loftier ambitions for his club than just surviving in La Liga. Sergio took the bulk of the blame in the press conference afterwards for their defeat and the manner of their defeat against Huesca. And as well, recently the results just frankly haven't been good enough. They played a lot of the teams in and around them, but they lost to Valencia. They got a draw against Elche, which was a good result because it was a good comeback. And obviously this loss versus Huesca. I think in the last 4 matches they've conceded 2 or more goals each game. Well, I do like Oscar Plano. He's going to be instrumental in saving them this season. He needs to have a real impact. And as well, they need to get better service into Sean Weissman. Their record signing, their top scorer. He's just not getting the service at the moment to get the goals that Real Valladolid desperately need. What does that mean for my prediction, and what am I thinking? Alaves versus Real Valladolid. Alaves won this game early in the season, and I think it's going to be the same again. I'm going to go with 2-1 Alaves versus Real Valladolid. Well, that's it for this week's La Liga preview. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, that thumbs up, all those good things. Comment below your predictions. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.